Bon, alors, de quoi va-t-il s'agir en cette soirée apparemment à haute teneur en révélation? Voilà. M'est avis qu'il va surtout s'agir de correction de bugs et de nerfs. Je dirais nerfs de l'Energy Shield, nerfs de Archmage, Spark aussi, et de Herald of Ice. De manière générale, les choses qui ont des combos et des auto-alimentations quasiment infinies, voilà. Tous ces trucs complètement fumés. Et peut-être, j'espère, un petit peu de quality of life concernant l'Atlas. Voilà. J'aimerais bien que ce soit les rares, qu'on ne soit pas obligé d'aller chercher jusqu'à l'autre bout de la Terre quand il en manque un ou deux. Voilà. Personnellement, juste ça, ça me changerait complètement la vie. En plus, étant un joueur de GeForce Now, j'ai eu la bonne nouvelle, j'ai eu mon cadeau de Noël hier, un petit peu en retard, mais on peut enfin utiliser un loot filter avec GeForce Now, voilà, enfin avec tout, parce que voilà, on peut, ils ont inclus Pass of Exile 2 dans les loot filters sur notre profil de GGG là, donc j'ai commencé à m'en servir, c'est absolument divin. Donc personnellement, j'ai toujours dit que quand il s'agissait d'annoncer des choses négatives, il fallait compenser ça avec des annonces positives, et en général de la quality of life, ça permet de faire passer à peu près n'importe quoi. En ce qui me concerne, j'ai eu le droit à un loot filter depuis un jour. Donc là, ils peuvent annoncer n'importe quel nerf. Ils peuvent casser en deux la moitié des archétypes. Je m'en fiche. J'ai un loot filter. Voilà. Simplement, trouver une astuce pour qu'on puisse fighter les derniers rares sans avoir à faire une petite randonnée pédestre. Et ce sera pour moi déjà amplement suffisant avec quelques corrections de bugs. Mettre des petits checkpoints à l'intérieur des maps, je trouve que ça devrait être, ça pourrait être suffisant, mais voyons voir. Voyons voir ce qu'ils vont nous concocter. Je vais pas trop parler pendant ce temps. Allons-y. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, we're back from our break. We've been playing the game a whole lot, and we've been reading a whole lot of feedback as well. So it's time to assess and work out what we're going to do next. Now, later this week we'll be releasing PoE 2 0.1.1. This is a patch designed to address the concerns that we can address relatively quickly, without needing to create a new league or a new economy just yet. In this video we'll be going over some of the issues we've identified, and what we're planning on doing about them. It's worth stressing that just because a specific issue isn't on this list doesn't mean that we're not aware of it or that it isn't going to get addressed. It just means that we either can't fix the problem quickly or we can't do so without the need for a new economy. One of the major areas that needs a lot of attention is the base experience of mapping. We've made a lot of changes here. First, in-game maps have received a balance pass to the number of monsters, number of chests, number of magical rare monsters, number of essences, strongboxes, and precursor artifacts. You should generally find maps more rewarding than before. Maps generally specialize in one or more of these elements that they will be particularly rewarding in. Now, towers are a thing that's very important for players to run often, but we only had one of them. We wanted to add more variety here as soon as possible, so we've added 4 more tower maps.
Oh, bien.
Alpine Ridge, Sinking Spire, Bluff, and Mesa. We've also redone the existing Lost Towers map to make playing there less boring.
Oh, nice.
We're now also spawning more maps with bosses. The rate was intended to be 1 in 4 maps, but in reality the rate was much lower due to some maps being unable to spawn bosses. We've increased the rate to compensate for this issue so that we can get the actually intended rate. We're also adding a new type of tablet that allows you to add bosses to your maps with its own mod pool.
Nice.
Strongboxes also needed some love. They now spawn monsters faster, have a less annoying fog effect, and have also received changes to the timings and effects of the mods on them. Now, let's talk about visibility of effects. Many maps had too much clutter, preventing effects on the ground from rendering, causing you to be unable to see and dodge them. We'll both change the level of clutter on some maps and change some effects to make sure that they are always visible. In addition, elemental explosion effects have had visibility improved. Stick around for longer before they explode and disappear without exploding if a rare monster dies. Volatile plants are also way easier to see before they explode. Now we've also increased the zoom level on the Atlas, done a pass on various terrain collision issues in many maps. We've also improved the load times of opening the world map and Atlas panel. And we also now show the biome of a map on the hover for it. For other in-game content systems, we're focusing on getting all the rewards in line with what they should be. For Delirium, we recently fixed a bug which caused Delirium monsters to just not spawn after the starting part. And we've also buffed the rate of simulacrums dropping by 20% to make it more in line with the rate of finding the Expedition and Ritual bosses. For Ritual, we've made Omens now appear in the Ritual Tribute window 60% more often. For Expedition, we've improved the rarity from the shops, but we'll be wanting to make some more substantial changes to the rewards for this league later on. Now, one of the major concerns that we're often seeing is that getting to play Pinnacle content just takes too long, and that when you do finally get there, you only get one attempt and don't get a chance to learn the boss. In order to address these concerns, we're making the following changes. First, we're making the Citadel spawn closer to the center of the Atlas, and we've also added an effect so you can see them in the fog of war from further away. This makes them much easier to find.
Très bien.
To address the problem of only having one attempt, on the Arbiter of Ash you will now get up to 6 respawn attempts. Respawns can only be triggered by the person who put in the keys, and everyone on your party will be respawned at the same time. Leaving the map still forfeits your attempt, so you'll still need to fight the boss with the build you walked into the map with. Higher difficulties of the boss will lower the number of respawn attempts you get, but you should know the mechanics of the fight by then, right? Now, we'll also be adding respawns to other Pinnacle content as well over time. Another thing that players have noticed is that there are less keys from Faradin Citadels on the market, and thought that it was because the Citadel spawns less often. It turns out though that this is just because the boss kills players more often than the others. We've made a few changes to that boss to bring it in line with the other bosses. A lot of people have reported that many of our unique items are feeling underwhelming. Uniques are often designed to be build enabling at high levels, even if they're low level uniques. But we realize that we do need to make sure that more uniques feel powerful when you first get them at low levels too. In this patch, we are buffing a lot of uniques. These changes should make finding uniques at lower levels a lot more fun, and make subsequent character playthroughs more fun too, when you have some great uniques to use. We're also changing a few other things to make finding rares better at higher levels too. First, we're changing mod weightings a bit to make sure that there are less bad mods. Another fix is making high tier items no longer cull the highest tier modifier of a given mod type. This bug caused bows and crossbows to not spawn with attack speed at tier 5 rarity, and rings to not spawn with life at tier 5 rarity. Another change we're making is to make it so that socketables such as runes can now be overwritten with another socketable. As we continue to play, we still find many balance anomalies with specific monsters or bosses that can be nasty if you encounter them. This patch contains a pass adjusting a large number of those monsters and bosses. We'll save the full list for the patch notes, but there are a significant number of changes here that should address many cases where monsters or bosses felt too hard in certain circumstances. Here are a few examples to get a taste of what kind of changes you can expect. The Silver Fist Commander roll now does a lot less damage. Plague Bearer's Detonate Dead can no longer be used from off-screen and has better telegraphing. Forsaken Miners throw less grenades, have improved visuals, and deal less damage. And Lost Men Zealots can no longer meteor you from off-screen either, as well as many other changes just like those. One of the big issues for players on consoles is that the web-based item filter system is currently not working. This means that they can't use item filters like the PC users can. The 0.1.1 will be enabling the same system that PoE 1 has, which allows you to subscribe to item filters on the website. For now, this will be done on the PoE 1 website to allow us to get this feature out as fast as possible. Later on, we'll improve the user experience of this and put it on the Path of Exile 2 website. This patch also contains a bunch of other smaller changes and bug fixes that I'm sure you guys will appreciate, like buffing armor and scavenged plating, showing the number of uses left in your charms, as well as an effect when they trigger,
the Song of the Exiles,
fixing the music that Una was supposed to play in town, and plenty of other little fixes and improvements throughout the game. Now, we have a huge amount of much more meta-shifting changes that we know we want to make. And one of the best things about having the game in early access with the endgame is that we now have a much better idea of where we want character power to be and what the balance of bosses and monsters should be relative to that. But those types of changes are going to have to wait until we are ready to make a new league with a new economy for people to play in. That's still a little while away yet, but in the meantime we'll be continuing to identify things that are causing frustration and try and address them. I want to thank you guys for playing and hope to be doing more of these in the future.
Ça veut dire que la prochaine fois, ça va être nerf général.
Awesome. We are now going to call them, get them ready for the interview. So we're going to go
Meilleur
to
tour,
a
bien.
screen
C'est
here
déjà ça.
that is a be right back, be right back type of screen here. You will hear no audio, and it will just be a blank screen for probably 5-10 minutes at the highest. And now we're going to do an interview about what we just saw. So
Okay.
give us one moment here.
Bon, malheureusement, on n'a pas eu l'amélioration des rares. Peut-être parce qu'ils ont autre chose en tête. Bon, ça, c'est quand même un peu dommage, j'avoue, parce que c'est quand même quelque chose que j'attendais. Donc, je suis un petit peu déçu à ce niveau-là. Mais bon, de meilleurs tours et des citadelles plus visibles, ça, honnêtement, c'est vraiment pas de refus. Donc, ma foi, hein, ça va quand même dans la bonne direction. Plus de boss et meilleure tablette, ouais. Et bon, alors, 6 attempts, ça honnêtement, c'est pas spécialement quelque chose qui m'intéressait, puisque j'ai toujours one try les boss, voilà. Donc, personnellement, ça changeait pas grand chose, mais bon, j'imagine que pour certaines personnes, ça va leur changer la vie. Et buff de l'armure, ouais, voilà, très bien. Et scavenge plating, bon, scavenge plating, moi je sais pas, mais buff de l'armure, voilà, exactement. Très très bien, donc ma foi, pas le festival de nerf, mais ils ont dit que, voilà, ils ont une meilleure idée de la puissance que les personnages sont censés avoir dans le endgame et que ça nécessitera une nouvelle ligue avec une nouvelle économie. Ça veut dire changement drastique, à n'en pas douter. Et à mon avis, ça sera vraiment vers le bas. Je pense que la puissance de nos personnages sera très certainement nivelée vers le bas dans cette prochaine ligue, au prochain vraiment ajustement majeur. Et c'est tant mieux parce que effectivement, je suis en train de reroll pour le troisième personnage en ce moment même. C'est vrai quand même qu'entre la campagne et le endgame, il y a un fossé et que le endgame ressemble beaucoup à Path of Exile 1, alors que la campagne, elle ressemble beaucoup à Path of Exile 2. Et je pense que ce dont il a parlé, qui nécessitera vraiment quelque chose de plus conséquent pour une prochaine ligue, ce sera certainement tordre le endgame dans la direction de la campagne, peut-être. Voilà, dans tous les cas, que ce soit un petit peu moins le festival du one-click brain dead, un peu comme c'était dans Path of Exile premier du nom. Et pour ça, je suis très enthousiaste. Mais ça devra attendre. Évidemment, parce que bon, c'est quand même conséquent. Mais déjà, de meilleurs tours et Citadel, c'est quand même vachement bien.
Here we are.